What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you're new to this channel, or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they're live, and there's also a PayPal link in the info box below the video once it's rendered. But most importantly, if you would like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now we are joined by The Plain Truth, SX, Sleeping Warrior, Ranty Flat Earth, Mark Doxy, Jose, Eric, Chocolate Saiyan, and Arwin. Good to have you all.
Hello, gentlemen.
Mark, can I ask?
Afternoon.
Mark, can you see
Good morning.
Mark, can you see the side chat within the Hangout itself?
Oh yes, I've got a message, and I've opened it up, and I'm ready to watch later on.
Cool. Would you mind muting when you're not speaking? Because we can hear all your background noise. I'm sure it's you.
Yeah, that's probably me. It's okay. Thank you. Right, let's give Anthony the first go here.
I'm not sure where we stopped in terms of the transition. So, what was the last thing Nathan heard?
I think we need to establish first principles of what actually do we mean by the word gravity.
Well, what do you mean by gravity?
Okay. I don't mean Newton, Cavendish, or Einstein. Now, if you ever bring that up again, that's our debate finished. I do not accept that, but you seem to think that in your background, that in your mind, that I actually do mean that. I'm not supporting that whatsoever.
But you do use the term gravity, though, right?
We both do.
So what?
I don't. No, I use it to contrast, but you use it to support.
No, not absolutely. See, there we go. So you've misrepresented me.
How?
Listen, correct. Listen, let me give you a correction of what you understand. What you think I believe, because I don't believe in gravity. I wish there was another word for it, and I can't use the word Darwinian gravity because it sounds too much like Darwinian. You understand what I'm saying?
Are you not now redefining the term gravity?
You're saying that. You're using the word gravity in that sentence, in that question. I don't accept gravity.
But there's only two definitions. The one that everybody generally accepts is Newtonian, and then the one that science tells us is Einsteinian. Is your definition either of them?
No, it's neither. We're at cross purposes.
Are you a member of the Flat Earth Society?
Hold on, Ranty.
No,
Come on, give me a break.
Ranty, come on, go forth and multiply.
I'm asking you a question.
No, it's not.
Don't be ridiculous.
But hang on, Mark, you need to tell us what you consider gravity to be. If it's not Newtonian or Einsteinian, what is your understanding of what you're referring to? Because I'm not getting it.
Right. So do it.
Okay, we're going to remove the word gravity. All I'm saying is there's an attraction, a downward attraction. That's all I'm saying. The downward attraction.
Right. So how are you going to prove that downward attraction?
Well, even your buoyancy experiment shows a downward attraction. The heavier ones...
Which we can explain away perfectly with numbers to demonstrate the densities of the materials in question.
Repeat that, please.
Which we can demonstrate perfectly with numbers to represent
numbers, maths. How many times have we challenged the globers by using word numbers?
Okay, sorry. May I just interject for a second, Mark? So back to the example of the materials that were in that glass container. Forget the container, it's all gone. And what we're left with is a few of the liquids still sat on top of the other liquids. They haven't been displaced.
The table or the floor?
Either.
But on the table, on the floor, whatever.
Remove the table and they go further down to the next level.
The floor. Where do they go? Down.
Okay,
yeah, however deep you want to go.
What you're doing by removing them objects is removing the resistance that stops them from moving. You're not making them go down.
That resistance against what?
Hold on. Can I just get? Hold on, Arwin. Can I just get? Hold on. Can I just get an acknowledgement to what I'm saying, though? So you're saying, well, you just removed the table. I see that as a bit of a straw man, but fine. If you want to go down to the level where you've dug down 15 feet below the foundations of the house and then start there and say, right, you simply drop a couple of liquids that are of different densities and one of them may well sit on the top. Not by just, you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that you have to particularly arrange them in that way, but if you end up with liquid with water on top of it, like dishwater or oil on top of it, it's not being displaced down, it's being displaced up.
The surface tension of liquids at some point, that will kick in rather than the density of them. Isn't that correct?
I can very easily pour out water onto the concrete floor in sufficient quantities that you end up with enough water for me to squirt fairy liquid or washing up liquid on top of it, and it will sit on top. No gravity required. It's not going to go down.
Sorry, I missed that. I've got a child around my feet. Say that again.
I'm saying that regardless of having a container, if you've got water spread out on a concrete surface, or if you want 15 feet below the foundations of a house, whatever you like, to not have you say, well, it could go down further. But at some point, when we're on whatever level that you consider satisfactory, if you pour water onto it, yeah, not so that it's filling up a container, just so you've got a moderate level of water. You know, if it's completely flat for the sake of argument, it's not going to, eventually you will have a pool of it. Yeah, it can't go anywhere. And then if you pour fairy liquid on top of it, the fairy liquid is not going down. It's not being forced down. Nothing to do with any containment. Everything to do with its buoyancy and density.
Fairy liquid is the wrong word to use because you would remove the surface.
Go forth and multiply, Mark.
Happened.
You've kicked him.
Why did you do that?
Why the hell?
Oh, that's really bad, Ranty.
I don't care. I've not spoken to him like that before. I ask him a question, tells me to go forth and multiply. Cheeky twat.
Now, look who we've got instead.
Hello?
Is this a friendly?
Hello, yes, of course, always friendly.
Oh, I remember you.
How you going, Riley?
You're the guy that was on the porch last time, right?
Yeah, I'm still on the porch. This is where I live.
Ah, I remember you, man. I remember.
You're the Liverpool supporter, aren't you?
That's correct, sir.
Yeah, you're happy days at the moment.
Yeah, top of the league, man. Top of the league. Not conceded a goal as well after 3 games.
Pardon?
We haven't conceded a single goal after 3 games as well, I think. I have to double check that, but I'm pretty sure that's right.
Got to go decades, I think, before to achieve that one.
Yeah, I think it's probably our best start for quite a few years.
Yeah. Anyway, go on. Are we live here?
We are.
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant! Like, I was just listening to this gravity debate, and I don't think it's going down really well.
What do you mean by going down?
Just kidding.
Down is
Can you
relative.
prove that it's not going down very well?
Just kidding.
It's purely relative to your density.
Anyway, continue on. Continue on. Don't worry about
It's
me.
not gonna happen because Ranty just sabotaged the show by killing one of the conversationalists.
Can
Absolutely.
I just apologise to Mark on behalf of everybody else that doesn't agree with Ranty kicking him?
I agree. That was bang out of order, Ranty. No need.
Ranty, you're not having your wrench.
I've slapped my wrist.
Hey, so who kicked who?
Ranty kicked Mark Doxey.
I kicked that fake flat earther.
He's not a fake flat earther.
No, he's just misguided.
No, he's not.
Yeah, look. I have to admit, I'm on the flat Earth side for this. Sorry about that, Arwen. No.
We all are. We're not,
Yeah,
we're
no,
not
we
trying
all
to discuss flat Earth. We're trying to discuss gravity. So it's on the table right now.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah. Well, what I'm saying is I'm on the side of density and buoyancy, only because I can prove that for myself. I can't see any other force, so that's all I can go by.
That is my question. Where does the density and buoyancy stop? Where does the additional force begin?
Nowhere.
It's the other way around.
Really?
Yeah, I've been saying this. It's the cause.
But you can't prove the cause.
No,
So
Then it's not the cause.
but
It's not
it
the
is
other
an
way around, then, is it?
explanation. There is a force.
Wait,
it's not the other way around, then, is it?
There's a force causing all of this pressure, all this directional
Right.
pressure,
Can you
all
prove
the
that
effects of
force?
density and buoyancy, all displacement.
Can you prove that force or not,
by
Arwin?
force because it is motion.
Arwin, can you prove that force or not?
The motion itself makes
No,
itself
not the
evident.
motion.
Yeah, the motion. Yeah, it does.
Can you prove the force? Not the displacement. Can you prove the force?
Yeah, displacement.
So
It's
why do you
caused
answer?
by force?
Why do you answer yes to the question? Why do you answer no?
Displacement is caused by force.
Right? Can you prove that force other than its own density?
Yeah.
How?
Well, it exists.
Arwin,
There is displacement, and displacement can only be caused by force.
yes,
No.
this mythical magic thing called force,
No.
right? Yes.
Force.
Oh, maybe you can textualize
Force
it for
and
me,
motion,
Arwin.
they are intertwined.
So maybe you can.
I don't know why you want an exertion of energy, the mass and energy of a specific object. It's physical, Arwin.
That
It's
is how force is defined. By motion, by
Arwin,
acceleration.
Can you define it for me with my water and fairy liquid example? So you've got a puddle of water on a completely flat surface, and you've got liquid, a different liquid, i.e. something of oil base that sits on top of it. Where's the force?
Well, the force is pushing on both liquids. The water has more mass, causing it to push downward and outcrowd the oil that will stay on top of it because the force applied to it is less. Because its density
the
is
air
lower.
pressure layer, the force. You mean the air pressure?
And the air pressure is on top of that. Also
Well,
has some
isn't
force.
that the force that's making this puddle of water with oil sitting, a layer of oil on top of water on
No,
concrete?
the force is applied to it all. That's the whole point.
I'm sitting on my chair
It
right
is a
now. Nothing is
disequilibrium
pushing
of
me.
forces
Nothing
that are
is pushing me to stay sitting down.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
You know, this
Something's
argument
pressing you against it.
So in the example then, when I say why is the oil sat on top of the water, you're just going to say because there's a force. That's your answer.
apparently.
So they're intertwined.
So you're just saying it's just there. That's basically
Nathan,
your answer. It's just there.
Nathan, you know, he hasn't answered your question. Ask that question again.
So where's the force? Where's the force in this example with oil sat on top of water? What's forcing
I
anything
just
to do
described
anything?
it.
Yeah,
No,
but
you
you've not
didn't. You just said-
identified it.
You said it's just there. It's intertwined.
Well, you know, guys, I
It
think
expresses
Arwin,
itself in density and buoyancy, in displacement, all kinds of things, pressure, directional pressure, which is defined as weight, basically.
Density and buoyancy, basically.
Yeah, also.
Not also.
Also.
You've not
Very
given anything in
specifically
addition
also.
to that, Arwin. What in
I
addition?
give a cause for it. You don't. You just have
No,
examples
hold on.
of what it does.
Right, density and buoyancy, quantifiable, demonstratable. You're saying there's an additional thing, but you're not presenting anything. You're just saying
cause.
you just keep saying the word cause.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
what though, Arwin?
You have to identify it.
Just because you have identified a process from happening and how it works doesn't mean that you know why it works the way it does.
That's what
Well, we
science
know
does.
why-
Hold on.
we
That's
know
what
why
science
it
is
works.
for.
It's
That's what
density.
science does. It establishes cause and effect relationships, explains why these things happen. That's what science is used for. We go over this again and again and again, Arwin. You've got no scientific
yes,
justification to say the word cause, but you just keep saying it like it's a justified reason to inject an extra force.
yeah, well, this is like saying that we need an unseen, unnamed, unmeasurable force to make us fall asleep. You know, I mean,
It's not unmeasurable.
That's a brilliant
It's
example, Eric.
measurable in weight,
It is.
in
Yeah, what's the
pressure.
force that makes
That's
it
the
go-
whole thing.
is there an unseen force that makes animals and human beings fall asleep? I guess gravity must be part of it, right? Because we're laying down. That's part of sleeping.
Well,
What's
that
the force?
the laying down changes the way the blood cycle functions, because normally, because of the weight, there's more blood in your legs than there is in your head, and during the night, more of the blood will flow to your head because you are laying level.
Why is it that you can say
And that is part of the sleep cycle. It's just how sleeping functions
Arwin?
in the human cycle.
Arwin, why can you say it in that context? It's because of the weight, but you can't say it in the context of displacement.
Well, you have to displace yourself first before the redistribution of weight on the body happens,
Right.
because otherwise you'll be standing up.
Yeah, but you have to displace yourself, right? You have to do that. It doesn't happen by a magical force.
Exactly. Thanks for grasping my primitive example of what's this force making us be in a state of sleep.
No.
Yes.
Yes.
The force, the gravity force, is
Arwin, it has
incorporated
to
in
be
all
physical.
functions.
Arwin, listen, it
It's-
has to be a
It's
physical
an
thing.
orientation
That's right.
mechanism in all nature.
It's not. It's
Yeah,
just
it
its
is.
own density, Arwin, and displacement by virtue of that.
The point is, when you're talking about sleep, you don't have to introduce an extra force to describe why something happens if you already have explanations for it. You're just injecting an extra reason for sleep. So I can say fairy dust that exists in the atmosphere is what causes people to sleep, and over a course of time, that fairy dust is what causes it. And you say, well, how do you prove the fairy dust? And I go, well, obviously, people fall asleep, don't they? It's intertwined with the mechanisms of sleep, which is what you're saying about gravity.
I'm describing a reason. You don't. You just describe the functions of density and buoyancy. Yeah, look, it works this way. And I ask,
So what-
why does the dense separate itself from the less dense? Why does it do that?
So
And you have
excuse
no
me.
answer.
Maybe-
You just
maybe
say you
that's just
don't. We
how-
don't
Well,
ask
you
that
are-
question because
Owen.
it's not necessary.
Arwin, we
Have the
do have an
description
answer.
of density and buoyancy, and that is just
Arwin.
fine according to you.
Arwin, we do
Arwin,
have an
maybe-
answer, but
Maybe
you
that's just
dismiss
how
it.
it works.
Yeah, well, dismissal is not an answer.
Hold on,
No,
he's
no,
just
no,
said he's got an
no.
answer.
You dismiss it, Arwin, all the time.
So let's hear it then, concisely. Now it's come up as a question from Arwin. Over to you, Anthony.
So re-ask the question, Arwin.
What is the cause of the separation that we know as, well, the buoyant effect, for example, that the less dense separates itself from the more dense?
You've
What is
just
the
said it yourself.
cause?
You've
The
just
cause.
answered your own question.
No,
That's
that's not
correct.
an answer to the other question. No.
That is
You've just
correct.
done it.
No, see,
I didn't.
Owen, because it's not the why, it's the nature of things. And these things can be tested and observed and repeated and repeated and repeated. We don't need to add in a mythical fairy dust.
Yeah, I
For
agree.
Christ's sake.
Yeah, exactly. You're not willing to actually get into the cause. You just say it works like this.
What cause?
That's
Arwin?
literally what you're saying. You're saying
What cause?
it works
Arwin.
like this.
Erwin,
Good enough
gravity
for us.
exists. Why? Okay, so why don't you say how gravity exists? How does gravity come into?
Yeah,
How does that come into?
Directional pressure.
No.
No, but
What
it
creates
displacement.
gravity?
That is expressed in density and buoyancy in the layers.
Okay.
It's a
What-
force. It's a force applying
And what-
pressure,
what created
causing
this
these
force?
divisions.
What
And if you
created
counter that force, if you balance out the disequilibrium by moving downwards with it, then suddenly this effect no longer applies. There is no more density and
That
buoyancy.
sentence, you threw everything, everything in that sentence. It can be broken down in a 20-hour show, and we still not get to the end of it.
So any
I don't know.
syntaxial
It's fairly,
rotation?
it's fairly simple in my mind, anyway. It's density and buoyancy. Density and
kind of
buoyancy.
agree.
That's all it is.
Good for you. I want to know
Yeah.
more. I
Well,
want to know
you've
what
gotta-
causes it.
Well, I want to hear more. Like, tell me what's more to hear.
Love for each other. That's what causes it, Arwin.
Oh, of course.
Directional pressure.
There you go. There you go, Arwin. Material loves each other. That's what's causing it.
In my view, this is why we have this scientism religion.
Well, it's the same thing, Arwin, isn't it? It's just
I
you
think
can
the
insert
problem is
any
if-
word, the love, anything you can insert, and you're not gonna be able to prove it. Well, just as yours. Well, your example is
This
ridiculous.
is all red
also.
herring nonsense. You're not answering
Oh
the
my
question.
god!
The cause.
Neither do you, Arwin.
Yeah, I am.
No, you're not.
Yes,
Hold on.
I am.
No,
I've described
Arwin,
it in detail
Arwin,
many
calm
times.
down,
I'm
please.
sick of
all right.
Arwin,
Hang
hello.
on,
Hello.
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 I haven't.
Right, Arwin.
Hello.
No, you're not establishing the cause. If you did, you would apply science and establish the cause. That's not what you're doing. You're just asserting it. In the same way I can assert that unicorn farts cause it because I want to look for the cause, and it's unicorn farts because I say so. But you don't. You just establish it using science if you want to assert it. You're not doing that, though.
I can't prove it. That's right.
But that's
Because I
the
can't
problem, I
vary it.
think.
It's a very simple problem that cannot be overcome. Doesn't mean
Yeah,
that
but
there
that
is
very
no
simple
explanation.
Arwin, that very simple problem is your problem.
Arwin.
Arwin, if we can't prove it, then I mean, just asking the question, wouldn't that be the equivalent of saying, what's the cause of the sun? Like, how are we?
Yeah. Well, I'm also
How are
very
we
curious
going?
to that.
Yeah, I am too. But I mean,
Well,
So
I guess
the gravity thing.
should we look for a cause that tells us that explains why tigers eat meat rather than herbs and plants? Is there a cause? Does there need to be a cause, or is that
yeah,
really?
of course.
I'm just saying, like we're
So
going back
evolution,
and
Big
forth.
Bang,
No.
God.
No, it's their metabolism, their design.
Oh, their design. Well, what's the cause of this?
It was designed that way. That's how it is balanced.
I think the point Eric's making is certain things.
Maybe density and buoyancy was designed that way, and we don't need a cause like fairy dust or gravity or what did Nathan say? Unicorn farts.
It doesn't explain weight. It doesn't explain pressure. All these things.
Yeah, but
I think design. If we can observe the design and how it functioned, and we can observe it, and it repeats, there it is. That's what it is. It is what it is.
Yeah, but there's still things left out that don't match up with just that as an explanation.
Such as
Directional pressure and weight.
Again,
Why
we
it
come
is
back
only in one direction.
We come back to that word directional pressure.
Yeah, I
what
do.
evidence do you have of it? What evidence do you have of directional pressure besides the?
It's very simple. You take a scale, you stand on it. It says, oh, look, you have a certain weight because there's pressure by which it measures it. Okay, now you lay down, put the scale against the wall, and then stand onto it with your feet. Just stand against it. And guess what? It's not going to give the same score there because the weight is not being caused because there is no directional pressure going that way, causing that pressure. Even though you have a lot of weight, but it's going in another direction.
Can you stand in walls, Arwin? Is that true about the wizardy thing?
Yeah, you can stand against that scale, laying down on the ground.
You're in a layer then, Arwin. It's relative to the density.
Right.
You're negating that by putting it sideways. That's what you're doing.
Yeah, you're changing the variable.
Yeah, changing the direction, so it is not really that relative.
Direction is relative. That's the point. And you're saying, well, I'll just change the direction because it's not relative. Well, yeah, it still is relative. Relative to the buoyant state of the thing you're looking at.
Well, the buoyant state of the air in the room is going to be pretty much the same everywhere. So just change the direction. Look,
yeah, but then you're comparing.
Suddenly the pressure is not there anymore.
No, you're comparing two different things: gas pressure and liquids and solids, and how they behave, and they're entirely different. And you're saying, well, the gas pressure is pretty much the same everywhere. It won't matter if I'm sideways. Well, yeah, it will if you're a solid.
Right. So isn't that also part of the density and buoyancy effect? Use it regularly
you're in
to
one particular
describe the
area.
effects.
Arwen, I'm very, very perplexed why you feel this strange need to argue for this force when there's no practical. I mean, you as well as everyone else here knows there's no practical application of this gravity that's used in any real world applications. Do shipbuilders in Amsterdam do they when they build these massive ships are they building with the gravity taken into account, or are they just displacing water?
No, but they use gravity because they're weighing their materials. Yeah.
Wouldn't that be weight?
Excuse my ignorance, but is gravity supposed to pull to a center of a force,
No.
like a center?
No.
Yeah, pulls everything into a ball.
Isn't
Arwinian
that
gravity, it's a singular direction, it's universal, the cause is unknown.
No, but a heliocentric.
Sorry,
in the
did you just say the
heliocentric
direction
model,
is universal? Sorry,
gravity
Eric.
pulls
I
towards
just want to
the
pick up on that.
center.
Sorry, Eric. So the direction is universal. So why is it that things displace upwards then?
No, they didn't say that. It is one direction
Exactly.
and it is universal.
Well, it's not one direction. So if you put
can't be
something in
both.
less dense into a more dense state, it will go up. And the reverse is true also. So is it just the case that you only look at it when it's going down? Relative, of course. Relatively speaking, going down.
No, the force applies to all matter.
So how can you have a direction
Also
then?
the light.
So
but
if
you
stuff can
cannot
go,
gain enough weight to push through the lower density layers beneath it.
so there's no direction then. It's just relative.
No, it is in a direction.
So it's both up and down depending on its weight, Arwin.
No, the force applies to one direction and causes very specific effect. The pressure of the density layers will push downward until they can no longer, because they're being displaced by a thicker density layer that is just stronger and prevents this penetration downwards from the lower density layer.
Okay, but when they are in equilibrium, there is no longer any force.
Yes, there is.
Where's the
It's
force when they're in
keeping them
equilibrium?
place. No, just because the layers are in an equilibrium, which is the part of the buoyancy. So there's a buoyancy equilibrium, but the forces are still in this equilibrium in the one direction.
Sorry, you're just saying it. If they're in equilibrium, they're in equilibrium. They're not going anywhere, they're not changing, they're not
the
moving.
density layers, not the force.
Yeah, so it's based on its density then.
What? No.
So not force, but density.
Yeah, it's a separate thing.
Yeah, when equilibrium is occurring, the only thing
The
at play...
equilibrium within the density layers, that's not the same thing as an equilibrium to the forces being applied. That is constant.
That's my question. What force?
Causing the pressure.
What force?
The mysterious downward force.
Oh, so suddenly when I tie you down and we're in equilibrium, it's suddenly a mysterious force, is it, Arwin? No, it's just not there. There's nothing there to be causing any force at all. It's in equilibrium.
So what causes the directional pressures?
There isn't one. I've just said it's in equilibrium. There's no direction happening.
Yeah, there is. It's called.
No, there's not. Nothing's moving.
Weight. Yes, it is. It's called weight.
Nothing's moving.
Doesn't need to move.
Oh, really? So what direction are you referring to, Arwin? If nothing's bloody moving, what direction are you talking about?
Downwards.
Why? Nothing's moving.
Doesn't need to move.
So why are you getting downward from?
That's the direction. That
direction of what? Direction of what,
direction
you buffoon?
Of the pressure of it all.
Nothing's moving. It's in equilibrium. Nothing's going anywhere, and you still think down applies.
Yeah, the scale.
Wrong. Nothing's moving. Hello, where are you getting down from? Nothing's moving.
Oh, the scale is moving.
No, we're in equilibrium. Everything is in. You're just introducing shit. Alwyn, stop it! I'm not going to tolerate it. Don't introduce a scale.
Right,
We've got liquids in different densities. Shut your mouth! I've listened to enough of this shit. Shut up. We've got different densities. You're going to rumpus me, Oh, he's going to run away because I've got him cornered. I'll reiterate my point. When all the layers are in equilibrium, nothing's moving anywhere. Yet Arwin wants to assert, and so does Mark, that stuff's moving downwards. We've got a downward force. No, we haven't. We've got an equilibrium. Very straightforward. There's no down, but Arwin still wants a down. That's when he's run away because I've cornered him.
Isn't Arwin from Holland? He needs to go to the shipyards and talk to these shipbuilders and ask what their primary mission statement is. Is it to fight against gravity, or is it displacing water?
Nathan, let me ask you a question, right? And I want you to answer it to Arwin. When we first met, you and I did not share the same view on this down, right?
Correct. I shared Arwin and Mark's point. Thank you. Thank you very much for pointing that to the audience.
No, but what I'm saying is that when we first met, we didn't agree. Now, me and Nathan really don't agree on everything, right? Everyone thinks that Nathan and I are the bum buddies and whatever, but that's really not true. But when we first met, Nathan and I did not agree on this downward thing, and we had the conversation, and I said to him it was relative. And in the end, he worked out and realized that it was. But something triggered that to happen. It didn't happen organically. It required an element of persuasion. Now, whatever it was that changed it, I don't know. But Nathan's position originally when we first met was that there was something that controlled down. That's Arwin's position. But that's not the same position anymore. And the reason is it's relative, because there is no such thing as down in terms of the thing that's being displaced. From our perception only, yeah, we see it as down. But from the thing itself in question, it's relative to the environment it's in. And it will naturally try and find equilibrium. Why? Who knows? It's not a scientific law. It should be. But Nathan's position was there is something that controls down. He did have the view of Arwin originally, right?
Yeah, until you realise, with your container, I know Mark wants to get rid of the container itself, but the principle still stands, which is to say that if you introduce something lower, it will go up. If you introduce it from the top, it will go down till it reaches equilibrium. But when you're at that equilibrium, nothing's going anywhere. There is no up and down. There's only relative directions dependent on density.
I agree.
I agree. Look, the bottom line is the Earth's shape is not going to change because of this, but we can prove that density and buoyancy exists. There's no force. There's no force that exists. Not at least not in my mind.
I agree. At the end of the day, it's really it's about what we can prove. Now, if we can't prove it, or at least provide some evidence to support it, then it needs to be dropped. But Arwin doesn't want to drop it, and neither does Mark. Now, I can accept and respect that they don't want to drop it for whatever their reasons are. But at the end of the day, it comes to what you can prove. And we can explain, demonstrate, and document density causes displacement.
Can we talk about Patricia Stewart being a tranny?
No, fuck off, P.
Because I'm pretty sure she's a tranny. Antonio is really convincing evidence.
Don't worry about that one.
He drew a picture. He drew a picture of her hip.
Shut up.
I mean,
from the outside looking in, I can see Mark and Arwin sort of teaming up a little bit against Sleeping Warrior and maybe somebody else, and it's starting to become a little bit of a challenge between two factions. This from the outside looking in. I've been listening to the debates for a long time now, and I think it's become more. It's less about the content and more about trying to get one on the other team. That's my opinion anyway.
I see that as well, and I'm just it frustrates me of having these whys and Arwin's causes. Everything what's the cause? And that's why I inserted that layman's approach to sleeping. Oh, what causes us to sleep? What's the cause? What's the force?
That's the same reason why I said it's like
blood pressure. By the way, I can sleep sitting, so I don't need to lay down per se.
Yeah, by the way, I'm not taking any sides in this, although I am on Sleeping Warrior's side in essence of what I believe. But I think it's just become a little bit. It's getting a little bit too personal every time it comes up. I think.
I share
But
those.
anyway,
He says he can't prove it. So I mean, if that's what he wants to believe, that I don't see anything wrong with that. I just don't see why he gets upset because we can't answer that particular question. It's just what happens. It's. I mean, I get it. I want to know why too. Why does that happen? Just like I want to know why the hell the sun is doing whatever the hell it's doing. What is it? In the moon. But uh where are we gonna get those answers, you know?
Can I introduce a thought?
Travis, real quick,
Yeah.
by the way, your boy on Facebook.
Yeah, right.
Oh man. That
Yeah,
conversation, man,
I
I
know,
can't
man.
even deal with that.
I gotta drop it. I just don't even know. I try every once in a while with him, and it's just insane.
Yeah,
Listen, let
man.
me ask a question for critiquing the idea of gravity. So that gravity is moving toward the center of the Earth, correct? At all points, correct?
That's the theory.
Okay, so at every point on this sphere, at every point, the same gravitational force is pulling it toward the center, so that down is the center. Yes. Okay.
That's
So
yeah,
my
yeah.
critiquing question is, why doesn't then water begin to build up at the point of contact with the Earth? Because that's where the center is pulling it. But that's not what we see. We see water demonstrating its own mechanical properties by flowing down to its equilibrium. But if it were true that gravity pulled it toward the center, then at every point water would stop and build up, and we would be covered in water.
Well, that's exactly my point. I was going to make earlier on about gravity and the force of gravity, the supposed force of gravity. If so, supposedly, if you dropped something at a very high altitude, then it would not fall perpendicular to the Earth. It would fall at an angle going towards the Earth, and that can be measured. So why hasn't that ever been done before? You know, that would
Because of the
actually prove.
yeah. It's because of the great scale negation. It's because they cannot demonstrate that activity. Everything we observe, perpendicular trajectory, perpendicular angle to the Earth's surface, is what we observe. We observe a flat, motionless Earth. And they say that's the product of gravity. That's what gravity presents to us. But in reality, it's a sphere, and everything is moving at non-perpendicular angles to the center.
Surely that can be demonstrated in some way with today's technology.
It can't, because you would have to manufacture it, and then it wouldn't be natural. And so the only thing that they...
Sorry, what do you mean by manufacture it?
Well, in the same way that we have to manufacture a vacuum to demonstrate what happens in a vacuum. There's nothing natural in our world that is a vacuum. We have to manufacture it.
okay.
Surely something can be dropped at a very high altitude that has a mechanism within itself to determine direction. I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud now. But anyway.
But I mean, do you guys agree with me in terms of what I'm thinking about? I mean, is that a correct way to think in terms, if the Earth is pulling toward the center, then water should just build up where it hits the Earth. It should just start building up from there.
Yeah, and it should kind of, yeah, I know what you're saying, kind of like it should kind of build a little dome act. It should kind of dome up, right?
Like, right. Yeah, but it doesn't.
Oh, yeah, like a magnet, or so, like it would appear like
exactly.
it should appear like it does when the you know, your pint of beer is kind of when the heat differential is transferring and it starts to sweat. You know, it should be beating up and yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
Hey, Peanuts. Long time no see. Oh, he's dropped. Maybe not.
Well, isn't it interesting if we live on a ball that up and down and all these directions are relative on the surface or in different layers until we get to the center, and then it's a focal point, a singularity. Is that what the then it's subjective anymore, and nobody can go there. Nobody can get to this point of clarification and pure objectivity. Lucky, that's very lucky. We can't get down there and actually see this thing.
It's convenient.
So relative. Everything's relative. Moral relativism. Everything's. I tell you, it's all connected. Not just scientific. It's the cultural. Everything's relative, dude.
Yeah.
Hey, just on another subject. I'm down here in Australia, and I'm sort of
Upside down.
Yeah, I'm upside down at the moment. It makes drinking beer a lot easier.
That's awesome.
That's why you guys can drink so much. It's yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, we've got nothing else to do down here, but I was going to say I've been looking at the southern sky with my P900, and I captured. Look, what's the brightest star in the southern sky? I haven't actually had a look for myself. I haven't Googled it
Oh,
or
the
anything.
Southern Cross is kind of something I've never. See, I haven't looked much into that topic, but a lot of people mention that the Southern Cross. Is that the?
Yeah. The Southern Cross is prominent, and I know where that is. And like back in the day when I used to do some bushwalking, I used to be able to tell the time by the positioning of the Southern Cross, you know, and the 2 pointers. But what I'm looking at this star that's really bright in the southern sky at the moment, and it's sort of east-west, and I haven't actually had a look to see what it is, but what would it be? Would that be Venus?
You need to download Skyview. Download the app Skyview and point to it, and it'll tell you what it is.
Okay.
Well, Venus has been very prominent this summer, or what they call Venus, or what we're told is Venus. Usually in close proximity to the moon, actually, and very late at night.
Yes, that's exactly where it is, because I've actually got footage of it, but I've got it on my computer. I tried to get on tonight with my computer, but for some reason I wasn't able to, and I'm on my mobile phone at the moment. But I wanted to show you guys that, but maybe another time. It's really bizarre because I've never actually zoomed into a a star.
Yeah, it's funny. But are they stars or planets? You know, they all look like stars, and you know, there's three kinds of things: stars, the moon, and the sun. But then, now we have planets and space stations that we're supposed to be see up there. And I don't know. Yeah, is it a planet or a star?
Yeah, well, see, that's an instinctive thing, you know. By me, I believe in the flat Earth now. Obviously, looking into it for a couple of years now, and but it's still an instinctive thing that you say. Like you look into the sky and you see a planet.
Stars. Well, you see stars.
Isn't the only distinction that the planets are the wandering stars, so they have like.
Well, that's the old lore, but you know, now some of the lights.
The reason they say that is because those particular stars, quote unquote, have their own different pattern of movement as to the other stars in the sky.
Yeah, they don't
So,
form
that's
constellations.
just
They're not fixed.
yeah. Like now, I just see the word planet as just this
Wandering
distinguishing
star.
between those and the other stars.
Well, they all look like.
I don't think it's a planet. Like,
if the planets are reflecting moonlight, right? They say that some of these things are planets, and that they're just reflecting moonlight, kind of like the moon is, right? That's why we see them as a light, right? Why are they oscillating and why are they vibrating and humming? And I mean, all I see is if you look close and even use a telescope, I've never seen planets. I used to think I did, but I just see, you know, they're pulsating and
exactly.
Magnetic.
They reflect They do reflect sunlight. They're supposed to reflect sunlight. That's how we see them.
Well, I don't think they
Well,
reflect
Not
sunlight,
moonlight.
but what I see, what I can see through my P900 and the footage that I've got is something that starts off really bright and then expands to something that's very vague and flickering, and there's actually a dot in the middle. There's like a dot in the middle of it. It's really weird. Like when I get my computer going, the next time I come on, I'll share that with you. But
Well,
it's just really weird. Like,
there's only
Yeah,
one object. There's only one object in the sky that I will concede that does look like a sphere, and that's the moon. And it does look like it's dirt and it's craters, and that will I will concede it does look like a ball to me, to my naked eye. But
why can you
everything
see?
else looks like lights.
But why can you see it during the day, and in some instances you can see right through it?
Yeah, translucent. I don't know. I don't know. It's the moon is really probably the most interesting.
Oh, it's weird.
It is. But no, I mean that's the one thing. I mean, who does everyone agree that when you look up at the moon, especially if it does look like a planetary ball or?
Yeah, it looks like it's got texture to it. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I don't agree with that. When I look at the moon, I think that that's evidence of creation of some kind, intelligent design. I think somebody's done that deliberately to fuck science.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's. I've always been infatuated by the moon. How it's it's not really. It's been concept. It was towed. It was brought in here somehow. Yeah. It's the moon it baffles me.
Who was the Australian talking?
Not me, Eric. I don't know. Was it Wes?
Did he leave?
Wasn't he South African?
No, somebody's in Australia.
He said he was in Australia. The guy that was talking about shooting the stars with his P900.
Yeah.
Is he still here? I think he left.
I think he left.
No.
What was it you were going to ask him? Because if you say it anyway, Travis, he might pick up on it when he watches it back or something along those lines.
I was just going to, if he does get Skyview, I was just going to encourage him to take a screenshot when he lines up the Skyview app with the star, so that he's got just a documentation of what the Skyview app tells us the star is. And then I was also going to encourage him to take a screenshot of a compass bearing. That's what I do when I'm making my observations. I do a compass bearing and I do a Skyview shot.
Very interesting. As far as the moon, we started talking about the moon. One thing that when I started getting into flat Earth and I heard something about the moon, something that I read and was kind of interested ages ago, which was curing fish and meats. We've known read any layman's book about how to cure meats. I mean, we've been doing this for thousands of years. What do? You put it out in the sunlight, and what do you do at night? You bring it in. You don't leave your meats out to cure and dry in the nighttime. Gee, why might that be?
It's cold.
Can I just ask, is there anybody on the panel that's got the back chat open?
Nah, I think we're losing people left, right, and centre. Somebody's in the back chat sniping, I think.
I hope that's not P. If that's P, that's really bad P.
I think somebody kicked me.
Yeah, somebody kicked me too.
Yeah, Ranty and I got kicked as well, so it's like, whoever's responsible, if that's P, how can you expect to come back in if that is you?
Was. That was it. I just kicked him on the back chat. Sorry, I didn't catch him before.
Do you have the back chat open?
What's back chat?
Yeah, just right now. Yeah, just now. It was no was.
Do you know who kicked me and Ranty?
Okay, something's dropping.
Yeah.
Looks like everybody's got.
It's all
Yeah, I
kicking
took a
off.
screenshot. I'm gonna post it on the Skype so you see who it was.
Skype. You guys have Skype open too? Oh, anyway. This was fun today.
There's a flat Earth debate Skype group that we are in. You can ask Nathan to let you in if you want. I guess if he wants to.
I do like it coming. I just get frustrated on this everything being so scientific minded. I think we need to. Personally, I'm very interested in more the philosophical aspects, and not in a weird philosophical academia. Just I don't know. Who's this guy that attacked Nathan? What's his name? Conspiracy Cats. Oh my God, his little equations. From my knowledge, you're dealing with a guy that works in the public education system, and I will guarantee he has no idea what are the roots of the industries he's involved in, and its Prussian roots, and the era it was brought in, and what its purposes were. What's his name? Conspiracy Cats, isn't that the guy? I think I saw a video before he got his channel going, and he's a public school.
I don't know anything about it other than what's been on the show. I don't follow it.
Well, Conspiracy Cats is a high school teacher. He teaches physics. If that's the guy you're on about, the guy with the skinhead.
Yeah, that's what yeah.
Tony, where are you?
What is it you want to know about him?
Well, I mean, when you guys are faced with this, you're not just dealing with somebody who's arguing for the ball and gravity and
well, that is how he presents himself. I wouldn't agree with that at this point. I think that he's on the slippery slope with engaging with the people, the reprobates of the Ball Earth model. But at this point, he does present himself as neutral.
A recent video he was doing, I don't know, he featured Nathan quite. It was basically focused on Nathan and how dumb he is.
Which video is that? Has he done a new one recently?
Apparently, I mean, he's just reached like 1,000 subscribers, and I think it's for. Let me see. How is it?
I'm having a look right now. Hang on.
And I think he centered on Dell from Behind the Curve or Behind the Imaginary.
Yeah. I've not seen it. Flat Earth conspiracy theorists can't do the most basic of maths plus tars and appears. I've not seen that one yet.
Yeah, that's the one that's I'm pretty sure on Nathan. Why can't I find this guy? Conspiracy.
No, the one prior to that is Nathan Oakley can't understand children's science.
Okay.
I'll have to watch this. I'll have to watch his most recent one. I've not seen that yet, but I'm pretty sure at the end of the day, Conspiracy Cats has still got an outstanding issue to address, which is how do you have a container to control or to house the gas pressure if we have an open system? And he thinks that it's Nathan attacking him personally, but doesn't realise that it's actually the point on topic that he wants. I've encouraged him to try and address the point, not to make it personal, but he seems to be demanding that it's personal so that he can avoid answering the question, it appears. Well, and
of course it's personal because he's a school. I mean, you get what I'm trying. My point is, you understand if he comes on board with, let's say, towards the flat Earth, he's basically got to go to work every day and sit with the fact that he's telling lies to children.
Yeah, but if he believes them to be true, then they're not lies. They're just wrong.
Okay, but how can he go to work and throw away all the invested time and energy to get his teaching license or become a teacher and get a job, blah, blah, blah? I mean, it's going to be very, very hard.
Well, the same can be asked of Neil deGrasse Tyson, right?
I'm sorry, what?
The same can be asked of Neil deGrasse Tyson, right?
Oh, of course. He's got a fat paycheck. He's got a celebrity. I mean, you're never going to see him concede. He'll disappear, and 20 years from now, what? Nobody will remember it.
Yeah, but wouldn't you also at least accept that teachers that are being paid to teach are going to teach what they're told to teach because they need the paycheck to pay the mortgage, to live?
You have to. That's a point of public education, is to indoctrinate you into the culture, into the citizenship.
Yeah, the indoctrination comes second, though. You need to enslave the person first.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think many of us here will concede that that's the primary.
Anthony, who just joined, Anthony?
Orbik,
I don't know,
how you
I'm on
doing?
Skype.
Good to have you.
Hello, how you going?
Very good. Thank you for being
I mean,
here.
when you just simply sit there and objectively face the fact that you go from school from K to 12, I think it's the same in the UK, whatever, 13 years of primary education. Oh my God, 13 years of what? Aside from the basic arithmetics and phonetics and language.
Isn't that wouldn't that be the reason why Nathan's pushing him to answer? Not because it's personal, but because Nathan wants Conspiracy Cats to realize that there is a contradiction, and he wants him to address it, to at least to realize for his own perception that there is a contradiction, if nothing else.
Sorry to interrupt, guys. Can I have a minute here before Nathan closes the show?
Sure. Yeah, don't see why not.
Yeah, sure. I mean, we're just shooting the shit here, basically. I don't know.
Okay, this is a totally different subject. I'm doing a shout out, calling out, and trying to contribute with Soundly. So Soundly, if you are out there listening somewhere, one of your friends, the 11th of September, that's gonna be next week, the week after, I am gonna stop by Pontchartrain around 8, maybe 9 in the morning. So if you are in the area, I would like to meet you over there. I would like for you to take me to the same spot you have taken your observations. I would like to do the same observations next to you. I would like to record videos of the event happening. I will respect your anonymity. I'm not going to reveal who you are. I'm not going to present you. I just want people to know that you were there with me, that everything is legit. If you are not able to make it, oh well, we all got personal life and shit to do, but I will still go, and I will look up to your videos in the next few days to see exactly where you were taking your observations, and I'm going to do it with not the best camera in the world, but I'm going to do my best, and I will present my results. So this is a call for a contribution, soundly with me, and let's do this. Just communicate with me. You know, you can find me in the Jane Panda
And you know, I totally agree.
Discord server, or you can find me on my videos on YouTube. Send me a message and we'll talk.
I agree. I've been
Shout out
waiting
to
for someone
Jose.
to do that exact thing for years. I mean, someone needs to go to where Soundly is with a normal camera and do the documentation and evidence that what can be seen. Let's see it. Because there's only, as far as I know, there's only the one guy that's presented bendy water, right? Everybody else that seems to have gone there. So I'm thinking Andrew John, and there's another guy that I can't think of the top of my head. But everybody else that seems to go there seems to get straight, flat, and not bendy. But Soundly seems to be the only one that gets it bendy. So either he's cherry picking his moment, or he's doing some post. He's doing some post production to make it look that way.
Anthony,
yeah, the video is going to be posted within probably hours after I do my stop. I'm probably going to stop in that spot for maybe an hour. So in 1 hour window, I'm going to take some pictures and videos, whatever I can. When I get up in my car, my wife will be driving, and I will pull the SD camera from the camera, and I will upload on YouTube the raw videos, whatever, however it comes. And then, you know, we'll see
where
what
are
happens.
these other photos of Pontchartrain? Anthony?
Google the name or YouTube the name Andrew John. He's one guy that I can remember. There is another guy, but I'm sure if you Google Andrew John and then look, you'll see comments in his videos about it. Let me just try it now. I'll see if you can get the other guy. Hang on.
All right.
Just look it up in Google Images.
Yeah, Google Images. Nobody else seems to get it bendy.
Yeah, but
and to be honest, the one good thing that Awake Souls did was point out that when Soundly presented some of his evidence, that there was on one side of the bridge to the left of the bridge, there was the horizon level, or where the water meets the shoreline on one side was at a different level to where the water meets the shoreline on the other side. Why? I don't know, but we all know that shouldn't be the case. So whatever's gone on with that footage, to be fair to Awake Souls, that was the one thing that he said in his presentation on the what's that non-impartial channel, the Non Sequitur show, that actually was really, really good. I'd never seen that before. So shout out to Awake Souls on that one point only, but for the rest of your points, you are a moron.
And with that, I'm going to say first and foremost a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of the debating panel for making this debate possible, and of course a massive thank you to all of the live audience for tuning in and hopefully sharing this debate. If you hated the show, then you know exactly what to do, but if you like the show, maybe consider sharing it with a friend or subscribing if you've not done so already. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!